Welcome to the Central Rappahannock Regional Library's Lunch and Learn. Today we're going to learn about raising and keeping your own chickens. I'm Lee Criscolo, the head of adult services at the Howell branch. And with me today is Tina of Double Oak Farm. She's been keeping chickens for 15 years, and I can personally vouch for the deliciousness of her chickens' eggs. So Tina, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. I'm going to share the screen there, and you can just go ahead and start in on your presentation, and I will disappear from the screen for a while.
This is a typical day for me, walking through my farm, gathering eggs, chatting with my chickens, gathering eggs, giving them a little hi, how are you? Tell them that they are wonderful mamas for making all these beautiful eggs for me. Make sure they have plenty of food and water. And then I head back to the house, wash my eggs and get them prepared for market. So today we're going to talk about getting started. We're going to have a brief history, and then we're going to talk about which breed might be the best for you. We'll talk about housing and feed, hatching or raising egg chickens yourself, general health care, and marketing your eggs, and last but not least, resources for help and advice. So here are some examples of chickens that you might have seen on farms if you've gone on field trips with your children or if you have chickens in your own home. Chickens have been around since the 18th century. The imported Asian breeds were brought here. Leghorns are the most popular chicken since the 1840s. They lay the white eggs that most people buy at the grocery store. Other chickens include Plymouth Rock, Rhode Island, or Delaware. So now you're thinking, oh, what breed should I choose? Many people like to choose their chickens based on the colors. All of these colors here are different varieties of chickens. Some people look at the egg size. Some people are looking at the climate that they can handle, the availability of their space. Do you want small chickens or do you want the larger chickens that may lay larger eggs? You can have a mix of all sorts of different chickens in your flock that offer a variety of colors, personalities, and colors of themselves. Here are some popular white egg layers. These chickens lay white eggs, and the most popular one is the Leghorn. Brown egg layers, the most popular one is the Rhode Island Red, and these are two other varieties that lay brown eggs as well. Chickens do lay green eggs, and the Starlight green egg chicken lays green eggs, and so do these other ones. Blue eggs are very popular. The first one that you see is the Americana and the cream leg bar. They both lay blue eggs, similar to a robin's egg color. Now, there is this myth that a chicken's feathers determine the color of the egg, which is not true. Usually, the breed itself is the most reliable source when you're choosing hens for a particular egg color. However, if you get close enough to the chicken, the color on the female's earlobe will tell you if the chicken will lay white or colored eggs. The red earlobe means a colored egg, and a white earlobe means that the chicken will lay a white egg. Now, with egg production, it's how many eggs that you would want. Leghorns are the most popular chicken, the one that you see here on the screen, and they lay white eggs, and that is what is most popular at grocery stores. Annual production of eggs of a chicken depends on the breed, the age, and the season. In the winter, many chickens lay less eggs because there's less light. Chickens need light, at least 8 hours of sunlight a day, so they can be able to produce eggs. And usually a chicken lays between 200 and 300 eggs a year. Now, you are more than welcome to select several breeds and put them together. They all will eventually live together in compatibility. You just need to make sure you have enough feeders and watering tubs, and also a nesting place, a roost for them to be. You can add younger chickens to your flock when they are fully feathered and close to adult size, because if you don't do it that way, many times the adult chickens would then peck and attack the younger chickens. And this way, if they're almost the same size, they will learn to get along better. Now, where do you get chickens if you want to to grow your own? First, you can hatch your own with an incubator, which I'll talk about in a moment. You can buy your chicks at a local feed store. They are seasonally sold. And you can have a mail order of chicks. We're sent through the U.S. Postal Service. I do strongly recommend that if you do that, you go immediately to the Postal Service to pick up your box of chickens, because I have talked to postal workers and they are not allowed to give your baby chickens, any water or anything. They're in the box and they're not allowed to touch it. So if you do mail order, you need to make sure you get to the post office as quickly as possible. Otherwise, the chickens will just stay in the box. And if you don't come in time, you may have a sad result. Or you can buy your chickens from private breeders. Some people sell chickens that are organically based, and then you would have to go to their facility for that type of chicken. Now, like I said, do you want baby chicks or do you want adult birds? When you buy baby chicks, it's a lower cost. They're easier to find and they're less expensive, but they do require several weeks of special care and careful temperature management. Adult chickens, you know exactly what your bird's looking like, and egg production will start soon. They usually cost a little more and they can be expensive to ship. Personally, I have tried baby chicks and was unsuccessful. It was very sad for me. So I buy chickens that are 16 weeks old, and then within the next month, they start producing chickens, and it's a much happier result for me. Housing basics that you need to check your flock every day, collect your eggs daily, provide fresh water, fresh feed, grit and oyster shells help for whenever they, in their digestive tract. You need to make sure the chicken coop is dry. It doesn't have many holes for drafts, and that way they'll be protected from the weather. And you need to provide roosts. Your chickens should have a door on it, but it should be closed at night, because of predators, and a predator can get in the tiniest little holes. So these are just examples of what a chicken coop would look like. And you notice the doors, and some people have wires around it. Basically what all that is for is to protect it against predators, especially in the late evening, or hawks that are flying around in your neighborhood or on your property. It's important to keep the chicken coop clean. You could use dry bedding such as wood chips, straw. Some people have used paper before. Once it's wet or heavily soiled, you need to remove it right away. You can compost chicken manure. You need to do it for 120 days in a compost pile before you put it in a garden. And if you clean your chicken coop on a regular basis, it helps reduce odor, moisture, and disease. Now, what do you feed your chickens? Well, commercially, poultry feed is the simplest way to provide a balanced diet. Grass, Garden produce and treats should be supplements, but not the main course. You need a complete feed, and you should offer only fresh, unsoiled fruits and vegetables, and you must keep clean water available at all times. Now, if you want to hatch your own chickens, the natural incubation would be placing the fertile eggs under a broody hen, which you see on the screen. She will sit until the eggs are hatched. Takes about 21 days. Or you could do an artificial incubation, which is a machine that you can purchase. You put your eggs in there. It controls the heat and humidity. There are a lot of classrooms that have used this type of tool to hatch eggs so the kids understand the process of chickens being hatched from eggs. Now, to raise those happy, healthy chickens, you need a clean brooder, which is a room, as you see on the screen, so the chicks can move around. And you notice there's a light above it. That is called a heat lamp. That heat lamp needs to be above the brooder. If it gets too close, it could burn the chicks, or it also could catch the straw or wood chips on fire that you may have. So you have to be careful to keep it above the brooder. And on day one, the temperature should be 90 to 95 degrees, and eventually you reduce the temperature gradually day by day until they feather out and they lose their little yellow feathers and they start changing into the colors that of that particular breed. And during that time, you want to make sure you have the feeders and the water is cleaned and refreshed daily. Now, starter feed for little chicks, aren't they so cute on there? You feed them the complete starter ration formulated for growth. You can buy that at a local feed store, and there's lots of variety of choices of companies that have things. The goal is to get lots of protein in them. So you want to keep the feed easy to find and available throughout the day. So these are little feeders are small and they're on the floor. And if you give them a balanced diet, that helps with their growth, feather development, and their bone strength. Now, chickens are wonderful to hold, so human contact is encouraged. So the baby chicks, if you pick them up and handle them daily, they'll become accustomed to people. You speak calmly and you move slow. And with constant positive contact, it will make a friendlier backyard flock. Chickens do understand tones and certain words. When I say hi, mama, in the morning, I say good morning. They make a certain little sound. And in the evening, when I close up the doors, I'll tell them night, mama, and they make another little cooing sound. So it's different in the morning than in the afternoon. So those are just two vocal sounds that they do make. They make many more different sounds. Healthcare is very important. You need to be very diligent in keeping track of your flock. You need to watch for daily changes in behavior, their diet. Are they drinking enough water, especially on a hot day? Are they panting? They should not pant. And also the droppings. If it is liquefied, you usually have some sort of parasite or some sort of disease. If those animals have a tendency of any of these characteristics, you should separate them and call the vet for additional guidance. If you have several birds that become sick or die unexpectedly, you need to contact the vet before you dispose of the carcasses so they can examine it to see exactly what kind of disease it might be. The best way for health care for chickens is good sanitation, keeping the coops clean, keeping their feed areas clean, and their water pans clean, and that will make for strong flock health. Marketing eggs is a fun way to get to meet people. A small laying flock can provide eggs for everybody, your family, your neighbors, and customers. Word of mouth is a great way of selling small quantities. I have 40 chickens and I have regular customers, and I sell my eggs also to a local co-op. And it's just a neat way to make some extra money. If you have children, it'd be a great way to have an allowance for them to sell their eggs in your family. The local county extension office can provide additional information on planning and local requirements for marketing eggs. It's important that after you gather your eggs that you wash them, but you do not use soap. You just rinse them off with warm water to remove any dust or manure that might be on there. Then you let them dry and you put them in egg cartons. Egg cartons can sit out overnight. If you have them more than a few days, you should refrigerate them, especially if you're going to sell them to your customers. It's important not to use soap because the eggs are porous and the soap will go down in through the eggshell and it will destroy the bloom that's inside the egg, which keeps it fresh. So the less amount of detergent that you use on your eggs before you sell them is the best. Now, however, if you purchase eggs and you want to wash them with some sort of detergent yourself and then use the eggs right away, that is fine, but you shouldn't wash them and leave them set with the detergent as it will go into the eggshell. So there are a lot of places that you can get help and advice. The Virginia Cooperative Extension Center is available, local 4-H programs, the county extension agents, poultry specialists, and even veterinarians who are familiar with poultry would be able to provide advice for you to begin raising your own chickens. Here is some recommended reading from the library's resources that they have, 3 books that I found to be very helpful. Hopefully you might find that information in here as well. So enjoy getting started with your own flock.
All right. Thank you so much, Tina, for all that great information about chickens.
You're welcome.
I used to have chickens too, and they were really a lot of fun. I think a lot of people don't realize that chickens have their own personalities.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very cool to hang out with. What do you have like a favorite? What's your favorite thing about keeping chickens?
I enjoy talking to them and they talk back. I don't always, we know what exactly they're saying, but if you use that calmer voice and don't rush, they will come up and they make these cool sounds. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy greeting them and telling them good night in the evening. So to me, that's the best part because those 2 sounds are really pretty and they kind of all do it together. It's a neat thing. They will follow you around. Mm-hmm. And that is fun as well. And not all my chickens like to be handled. Because I have not been diligent in handling all my chickens, just certain ones that seem to pay attention to me, I paid attention to them. So not all of them want to be picked up and handled, and they let me know if I, by accident, pick up the wrong one. They fuss, wings flap, and they're like, what are you doing? We don't like this.
Yeah, they definitely have their own preferences.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started keeping chickens, I was surprised that in the evening, they would all go into the coop on their own and get on the roost, and I didn't have to chase around and gather them up. They knew what to do.
Yep. Now that the sun is setting, it's earlier sunset. In the summer, they don't go into 9, but last night I noticed they were all in by 7:30, which is an hour difference from what it has been. I didn't really notice the time till I got up there last night, and I was like, oh my, they're going in early, but they'll go in by themselves in the coop, but it's your responsibility as the caretaker to make sure you close the door so that they don't have any predators visit them in the evening.
Yeah,
I have left the door open. One time I left the door open in a terrible rainstorm thinking that, nobody will be out, and I lost half my flock that night.
Oh, everything likes to eat chickens.
Yes.
They're so tasty. All right, well, thanks again, Tina. I really enjoyed that. This is Tina Evans with Double Oak Farm, and that's all for today. So Central Rappahannock Regional Library Lunch and Learn signing off.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.